Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Air Bud. This is the classic 1997 film. It is about a dog that can play basketball. It's an hour and 38 minutes long, and yeah, this is a story of Buddy. He is literally a clown's assistant when we first meet him, and he's thrown off the back of a truck while inside of a dog carrier. Yeah, the entire scenario of Buddy's life is fairly just awful. He's with this horrible, just awful clown. Michael Jeter plays him. He's he's got a name like Norma Snively. Like you can, no offense to any Norms out there or any Snivelies, but it's you're setting yourself up to be a villain if you got a name like that. Just to be the together in that way. He's an awful clown. He's verbally and we never see it, but abusive, physically abusive to the dog. He threatens him with a newspaper to wrap him with a newspaper. And of course, he also puts the dog in a dog carrier in the back of his pickup truck with the gate down while driving like a maniac down the roads that are bumpy, and it just falls off. And you just sit there for the first few minutes after he's fallen off the truck, just watching his cars come hurtling toward the dog carrier. And you're like, that dog's gonna die. The movie's over in 2 minutes. Yeah, no, he of course he survives, but it doesn't just. It's not like, hey, boy sees dog, boy gets dog, boy teaches dog how to play basketball, and then wins a championship. No, it doesn't happen that simply. But again, it is a children's movie, so it is fairly simple. You know how it's going to go. You know how it's. Of course, there's also bullies. What is he, a 10? I don't know. He's a kid. He's a kid, and also, by the way, ding, 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 Disney trope. There's a dead parent. There's always got to be at least one dead parent that makes children sad, and that drives them to reach out in other ways to complete their lives. Not necessarily to the single parent who is doing everything they can to take care of them, but to a dog that can satisfy his desire to play basketball with his dog. It's not the intention. It's just that the dog, when the ball comes near his nose, he bops it and it can go in the basket. He's not. You gotta understand, if a dog plays basketball, there's gonna be a lot of traveling going around. He doesn't know how to dunk, but he sure can. Wait, what is it? There's a line I think the entire movie was formed around. Does he dribble? No, but he drools a lot. Yes. That is somebody sat around in a Hollywood apartment, and they're just sitting there with their writer friends going, "Oh my gosh, yeah, yeah." It feels like that's how it happened. If you're a grown adult, unless you really, really like dogs and basketball together, I mean, who doesn't love dogs? I can think of a few people, and they're just awful, awful people. But yeah, if you like this, you might, if you like dogs and the magic they can bring into people's lives, you can appreciate this as an adult. But for the most part, no. Children, yeah, children can get, if they like basketball, if they like dogs that are just super friendly and just just such a good looking dog, such a good boy. Like if you have all that, yeah, the kids are gonna eat this up if they're not looking at their screens to play whatever game they're Fortnite or something. I don't know. That reference is going to be very dated in like 20 minutes because whatever the hot new thing is on people's devices will replace Fortnite because I said it. What we get here, though, is we get Kevin Zegers as Josh Ram. I don't know if he's the same Josh. Is he the same Josh as the one that I saw the sequel where he's World Pup? He plays soccer at that point. By the way, he's Air Bud, and everybody, after this movie, after he's discovered, after this, it's apparent that he's a multi-sports playing superstar in this small town. People have Virginia plates, but I'm feeling it's somewhere else. I don't really know, but and I can't remember if this is the same Josh Fram, who is our main character, our main kid, who befriends Buddy and raises him to play all these sports when the need arises. The next one is going to be football or something, and there's going to be baseball at some point, and probably curling. I don't know. It's eventually he gets handed off to the buddies, to the puppies that then have digital mouths that talk. And I've seen them all now, and I do not like them. You can see my reviews on all of them on this channel. So, yeah. What we do get is, a mom who's raising both Josh and his little sister, who is, for the most part, invisible for most of the film. Except for, the first 5 minutes, she makes noise, and then you see her, and then you just forget she exists. There's at one point, I think Mom is at the basketball game, but the kid is nowhere to be found. I don't know what happened. Maybe the child that they hired was too irritable, and we don't need her in this shot. We don't need her in this scene. Mom got a babysitter. By the way, this is also the thing where the family moves to a new town after somebody dies, or they get a different position in the napkin company she works for. I don't know. But they seem to be friends pretty quick. And Josh tries to channel his sadness into being on the basketball team, not really getting on it, but becoming the manager. And there he witnesses abusive parents who just scream at their children from the bleachers, and whose children are his bully, which that's how it usually works, because that's how kind of life works. Your bully is very often being treated like garbage by their parent who seems to have failed at something, at least in their own mind. And so they take it out on their child. The child takes it out on a smaller kid. And that's how bullying works in every film. And does the bully get so fed up that his dad pulls him off the team, and then he joins another team, and now he becomes a rival, and then they have to battle it out in the championship, and then at the last minute, they have to pull in a dog when too many kids get injured, and they're like, you know what, there's no rule against having a dog play basketball. You know what, you're right. And, but it's still, really weird and stupid, and we're really overreacting. What are you afraid of, being beaten by a dog? Okay, I guess we're not, because you guys were still creaming you. Dude, and then the dog beats them. The dog cannot dribble. So there's going to be a lot of traveling. He can only, step and pass. That's it. He can't hold on to the ball. At best, he's stepping and passing. For the most part, he's a shooter. You put the ball in his direction, and he bops it with his nose into the basket, and everybody goes wild. That is Air Bud. And also, there's also a custody battle, when suddenly when Buddy becomes so popular, the clown wants him back to make money off of him, to get him on Oprah or something, and Jay Leno, I don't know. So he's an opportunist, and but he's also he's a bad guy to our heroes, but he's also so bumbling and so just inept that doesn't make him as scary. If he wasn't just a complete loser, it might frighten children. He's a clown for the first point. He's a scary clown. He literally is a scary clown. Whether you find clowns scary or not, he's not Pennywise, but he is just an awful man. And some children could be scared by that. But thankfully, when you structure these kind of children's films, you have to make the scary bad guy, a bumbler. And I don't know if that's something that's existed well before the Home Alone era, because, like, you know, Home Alone, it's two guys trying to break into a house and a, a, that's supposedly empty, but they know there's a child in it and they're still coming after him. And it's super violent, and the kid, not like intentionally violent, it's all violent towards the guys, because if they were really good burglars and not the wet bandits, it would, Home Alone, be a scary movie. It's focusing on a child being traumatized by the attack of these invaders. Has nobody made that film? I don't know. It would be scary for the kid playing the role too. You know, Macaulay Culkin would be just so messed up if somehow Pesci was like really like evil. So when you get that whole Wet Bandits template, it follows through in so many other films that came after it, and this is one of those films. So yeah, it's lighthearted, it's fun. By the way, Bill Cobbs, it shows up in this. He's great in anything he does. If you know who Bill Cobbs is, you've seen him in a ton of stuff. He's the wise older black guy that shows up, and I make the reference that he's black is because of the trope of them. I'm going to say this word, and I don't mean anything by it. There's a thing called the magical Negro. And usually it's an older woman or an older man, and they come into play, and then they somehow give wisdom to people. And he's not so magical in this. It's not like he just disappears when you look away kind of situation, or a pixie dust or whatever. He doesn't do that. But he comes in, and he just happens to be the janitor at the elementary school or junior high or whatever it is. He happens to be the janitor, but also like one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And when the coach has his own kid on the team and he's caught abusing him, not the way you think, in the way that he's just like, the kid's bloody by the time he's done with practice. That's the lesser of two abuses that they went with. But still bad enough that he gets fired, and they have to bring in the guy that somehow only Josh recognizes. And he teaches him a new way to basketball, and he's the guy who's the unconventional kind of guy, because the other coach was never going to bring a dog into play. This guy's unconventional. He teaches him how to play basketball without a ball. There's all sorts of stuff going on in this. It's not a great movie by any extent, and regardless of the really good cast, there's a guy named Eric Christmas who plays the judge, and Jay Brazeau, he is the referee, and I think he appears in all the other films, or at least most of the other films, at least the third or fourth sequel that I saw not too long ago. He was a referee still in that. But yeah, he gets to do bumbling stuff as well. Again, you're putting a dog onto a basketball court, and everybody's cool with it. They're amused by it. He's a mascot, but he then eventually plays. So yeah, that's not disrupting play at all. Everybody's, for the most part, except for the really overreacting coaches on the other team, when they eventually add him to the team, like, these guys are really upset. Like, it's almost worth it to watch just how unhinged they become just looking at a dog wearing a jersey. Anyway, you know what? You might get a kick out of it if you watch it with your kids, especially if you got kids that are good at interacting. Just interacting with the kids, I think, would be a fun thing to do. Like, oh my gosh, see what the dog's doing? Oh, he's pretty good at basketball. Like, you got a little toddler or something, that I think that would be fun watching it with them. But on your own, like I just did, this is not a good choice. So on your average weekend, weekday, weeknight, just watch Breaking Bad or something. I don't know. It's the anti-Breaking Bad. Although the dog's name is Blue, when which is just a made-up name that the clown gives when he has to claim ownership of the dog, because he never really bothered naming the dog. He just had him dress him up in a clown outfit, and then really, I mean, the dog looks terrified even those first few minutes. If you watch it, that dog, they had the dog trained well enough, I think, to just stay chill while this guy freaks out. And that's a testament to the dog trainers. So good on them. And Buddy. So yeah. I would only watch this movie and its sequels more than likely, because maybe they get better. I would only watch them on a dare. Or if you're doing what I'm doing here, watching everything on Disney Plus. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. 69. Wow, we got another dog story. And for something tells me that we've done this before. I know I've seen it. And I know there's a series, but for some reason they keep this separate from the other shorts featuring this dog. But it doesn't matter. We're going to watch it. And unless I find it in my list that I've watched it already, we'll come back here tomorrow and we'll talk all about it when we watch Doug Day's Carl's Date. Yep. So Doug is back. Oh, I like that name. Doug is back, and Carl's got a date. What? Doug Day's Carl's Date is on the next Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that. Bye. Hold on. I made a mistake. Tomorrow, we're still going to do Doug Day's Carl's Date, but we're going to do that tomorrow. Tonight, today, whatever. We have the premiere of Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man from Marvel. This is the animated series. It's premiering on Disney Plus, so I'm gonna, as soon as that hits, I am gonna watch that. I want to keep it in order on the day it releases. So, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that, and then Doug Day's Carl's Date on the day after that. Thanks.